morning, everybody. Michelle is here on this Wednesday. Wednesday. Let me look at something real quick. Yep, Wednesday the 18th, 2023. And a place to be. Baby. Oops. Why did I do that? Cool. So I hope everybody's doing fantastic, magnificently, and marvelous, because I am. And these dry lips and whatever. So I want to talk about something that's really important, and that a lot of people are going to run into some problems, because of how they represent themselves. Misrepresentation. A lot of us have done that, and that has a lot to do with how we were raised. We were raised to always, that if you look a certain way, act a certain way, blah 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 blah, you're gonna get this certain type of results and this and that and the other, and that's true. It is important to present yourself properly, and to be dressed properly, clean. Everything. Get your hair cut regularly, especially if you are dealing with the public. Get your go to the doctor, get your dental work done if you need it. Some people definitely need it. And again, I think if you work in a job that you don't have health care, there's still affordable health care out there. Am I correct? Because I get notices on it all the time. It's just those kind of things are important, especially dental work. I'm big on that. Not dental work, but how, if you're going to be up in my face and stuff like that, that needs to be taken care of. And your breath, how a lot of people just haven't kept up on those things. And those things are kind of important if you want to represent yourself properly. You don't want people to think, oh my God. I tell you what's happening with me. I told you I got issues with my skin, with it constantly being dry, and it doesn't matter where I am. I've been dealing with my skin issues for a while. But other than that, I present myself properly in the right settings. Now, since I've retired, honey, I don't have to work. See, what was so nice about my last job I had, I was a first responder. So I had to wear, we wore uniforms, and that was perfect for me. So I didn't have to worry about working in an office, because I used to work in banking, and oh my goodness, oh gosh, that was stressful enough. Determining what to wear, and you shouldn't nothing on my face here. Make sure that I didn't know. It was just a battle trying to figure out what to wear every day. 5 days a week. Oh, I hated it. So when I got into a uniform, I was perfect. I was relaxed. The same thing about hair. That used to be an issue for me as well, because I hated. I'm gonna be real honest. I hated how I had to style my hair and all the chemicals I had to put in. Go to a salon back in the day, stay in that salon for an hour or more, just sitting there waiting, the chemical smell, and this. I hated it. And it wasn't until I had gone to some salon, and there must have been something with the chemicals that she put in my hair, and then I was in an area where there was humidity, and in the South Florida area where it was high humidity, and salt, because I was near the ocean. Make sure he's all right out there. Yeah, same guy. Yeah, so I was near the ocean, and so my hair it was just brittle and just started breaking off and da 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 da. And so someone gave me some remedies on how to fix that. I had to start wearing some wigs, okay, to protect my hair. So because I first was wearing baseball caps all the time. Baseball caps will cause you to have a receding hairline if you wear, for some, I should say. But anyway, so representing yourself, now that I shared all that on this Wednesday, like, what? bitch. Okay, anyway, having fun. Anyway, so representation. A lot of people are going to really get themselves caught up because of misrepresenting themselves and misrepresenting others, and all of these things that we do to get ahead of people. That's all it's about. It's about getting ahead and just stepping on toes, and making yourself more than you are. And those kind of things are going to come back and haunt you, right? Yeah, put these on. Um, So, like for me, like I said, we were raised to act a certain way, dressed a certain way, and present ourselves a certain way, right? And that was fine with me. Like I said, there was just a lot of anxiety because people always were making fun of you back in the black culture if you weren't not wearing the right kind of shoes, you weren't wearing the right kind of clothing. People teasing relentlessly. That went on and went on, and then just all the jokes about what you're wearing and shoes. It just went on and on and on and on. That's part of the developing. You know, you have to know how to develop resilience and be able to take certain things. I mean, this is my opinion. You have to be developed enough where you do not have, where you can let stuff just kind of roll off of you without being all worked up about it and being all, uppity about it. Some people just get so uppity. Oh my God, just, you need to be able to handle a certain level of interactions with people that you may not like. Now, I'm not saying that you need to stand there, get out of the area, move on. But to be sitting there, arguing back and forth with people, it always ends up where someone will claim self-defense when they injure you or kill you. That's the next. When it's two people, especially, and no witnesses. Yes, that will be always the defense. Is I was defending myself, and so with no eyes or ears and people not coming forward that are witnesses and this and that and the other. So you do have to make sure you're representing yourself properly. At the same time, make sure you understand that it's not in the clothing. It's not the clothing. Okay? And I know a lot of people want to look good, smell good, and hey, look, you know what I like. And yeah. But it is in the clothing, right? It's not the makeup. It's the innermost part of that person. Because how many people have been burned, by all of that? Focusing on that as your what do you call it? Your quest, your target, not target, your pursue, something that you're pursuing. And that's the same thing with a job. That's the same thing with everything. You need to know, what are you representing, and what are you doing to try to attract certain type of people, a certain type of job, a certain type of this. A lot of people say, well, I can wing it, because like I said, with the online, the internet world, yes, you can wing it. All you gotta do is take a course, and the next morning you're an expert. Okay, but that's not necessarily the case in reality and in the real world, is it? It isn't. But hey, so representing yourself is so important so that you can, so in other words, walk the talk. Know that it's not what I'm wearing or the shoes I'm wearing, but it's something innermost in me that ought to be considered. So again, this being, and because a lot of people just cannot accept who they are. Okay, they cannot. They look in the mirror and say, no, it's just not acceptable to them. Okay, I understand. But as you're developing, you're gonna have these moments of where you like yourself and you don't. You think you're cute and you're not cute. Is my hair fine? Do I need to go get a haircut? You're gonna have those kind of moments, but it's not anything to be beating yourself up about. And a lot of people do that, and then they somehow figure out how to change that. And so they start looking at what other people are doing that are getting the attention. And guess what? We all do it. We'll start wearing the same kind of clothing that person is wearing. We're walking, some, not we, but some, I'm just literally, figuratively, metaphorically. Thank you. But anyway, so we'll start dressing like these people, dressing like some of these people, walking like them, even especially the entertainers and the celebrities. I mean, that is almost insanity in my opinion, because of the lack of being original, the lack of authenticity, and covering, and like people covering other people's music. I just don't understand it. But a lot of people say, well, something about flattery. Let me look up that term, child, since we like to term out things and quote people. Let's look at that. About being flattered. That's one thing. Okay, that's one thing. But most people do it because they want to end up capitalizing off of it. They want to start making money. Right? Let me see. Did I do that right? Yeah, they want to capitalize off of that. It's not that they're complimenting the person. They want to build some income off of it. Sorry about the glare. Let this sign on. It's money. I got appointments and this and that and other. Let's see. Let me see if I can look it up. Okay. It's there it is, and that is so true. Flattery is excessive praise, and we've taken it to an inhuman praise. In other words, in order to be that person, it's not that we're flattered by that person. We want to be that person. We want that person's attention. We want their money they make, and we'll kill for it. We all know that. People kill for that. So again, we we got to work on certain things about ourselves, so that we can be developing properly, and not obsessing ourselves even more to the point of no return. Okay. Yes, that's exactly how I see it. I see it as an excessiveness. Excessive. It's okay to give somebody a compliment, but then when you start wanting to be them, literally inside of you, you want to be that person, that entertainer, that celebrity. And you'll watch movies of them, watch videos of them. You'll just watch them and watch them and watch them. And that it's obsessive. You got the pictures all over your walls. You got the pictures in your cell phones and on your laptops and blah, blah, blah. Let me try to turn this way so I don't get that glare. Yep. Here we go. Something about it that is to have someone imitate you is something to as a flatter, that is something. I don't know. It's just it's obsessive now. It's not the same. Like I said, people not necessarily are giving you all these compliments. They want to be you. So people do that, and so they start mimicking and they attempt to take on this person's persona and be everything that this person is, so that they can take all of that for themselves. Eating people alive, sort of like. That's what I visualize. They'll eat that person alive, literally. Okay? just to stand in their shoes. And that's not empathy at all. There's, standing in someone's shoes, we usually say that's empathy. No, this is not what this is. This is, a crazed obsession of, being so excessively into other people, just so you could take all of that off of you to be somebody else that you're not. So you're over representing yourself. And so that's what happens too in the world of social media platform. That's why people steal ideas, steal other people's creativity, and attempt to take on, the personas of these so-called, the ones that are getting the attention. And I keep saying, if you pay attention, usually a lot of these people that are in these pyramids are frauds. So you're attempting to emulate and copy and paste or whatever, wash and rinse frauds, people that are frauds. Those ideas were not theirs. They probably stole your ideas and you don't even know it because it all got spun. They spun it out to where you don't even recognize that may even be your project. That may have been your ideas. You may have shared it with somebody and don't remember. Say you went to MIT and you shared something to your teacher, and you forgot you shared it with your teacher, and so there's and you realize later on down the line, your teacher may be using something that you originated. That happens all the time. These literary agents do it all the time. That was their main objective, in my opinion. This was to get people to submit stuff, so that they can reject it. Their whole idea was to reject it, but they still read your script, they still read your screenplay, they still read your book, they still listen to your music, they listen to your sounds, all of that creativity and the work you put in. They, and remember back in the day when people used to go out and in certain neighborhoods, usually black culture, I'm just being honest, because the other cultures didn't have much going on. And that's just being honest. All these kids running around, they were talent agents. That's it, talent agents. A lot of communities had that back in the day. And that's how a lot of kids were somehow murdered, in my opinion, on the Atlanta streets back in, oh God, I'm not sure when that happened, but it was before the 80s. I told you the damage was done and the results started. Okay, the damage was done and almost, let's see, there was a culmination, right? Let's see when that happened with all those children. Yeah, it was right in the late 70s and early 80s. Yes. Okay. We had talent agents, roaming through the community, looking for victims. They weren't looking for talent. These predators, these sick, degenerate human beings. I mean, literally, consciously sick, perverted. Okay, and if they can't get a talent, if they can't get attention, then they're going to create, ruse and these backdoor schemes, to get the attention they want, whether it's sexually, whether it's whatever it is. It's usually a sexual deviancy, though, a man or a woman, so it has that deviancy of that, a sexual deviancy. So it's very important that if you're going to represent yourself, be as original and authentic as possible, so that you'll enjoy that journey and not crash and burn. Because a lot of people are going to fall off I'm telling you, a lot of people are going to be falling off off these high fraudulent lifestyles that they've perpetrated and they know did not exist, but they were able to capitalize because they overrepresented themselves. And yes, a lot of people can wing it, get in there and and do fine. But a lot of people are going to figure out that there was a lot of fraud and deception when the money runs out. That's how you know. That's why a lot of these businesses are closing up. That's the reason they're closing up, because of financial mismanagement. They're not closing up because of homelessness. They're not closing up because of crime, which are issues. But a lot of these major retailers, these accountants, these financial gurus, of which this, that, and the other, they're going to start falling like what? Falling like dominoes, or falling like pins in a bowling, in a bowling alley. When that ball is the pendulum, it's gonna strike, and guess what? Okay, when that ball strikes, what happens? Okay, so just be mindful that it's not the outside of you per se. Yes, we all want to be presented properly. We want to represent ourselves properly by looking, being clean, smelling good, like you should. Wearing proper clothing and appropriate clothing, I should say, in whatever you are out and about, and socializing with people. Just to remember what can happen to you in these trying times, these turbulent times of interpersonal relationships, how you can be perceived some way, in ways that you didn't expect. Just put it that way. You're being represented, and you are, being, you have a certain level of people judging you in a certain way. And I know a lot of people hate that. They say, well, stop judging me, and all this. I mean, judging is just like discernment. You have to do that. But there's always the proper way of doing anything. You have to judge a situation. You have to judge a person, okay, to understand, okay, what am I dealing with here? So that you make sure you're picking up the right energy and the right, whatever, those proper exchanges of energy between two people, okay? To go into a situation and have not done that, that's just dangerous, really, because you're dismissing instincts. If you go in somewhere to a meeting, like I said, to meet somebody, as soon as you go in their office, your hair starts standing on the back of your head. You feel this like some physical reaction. Okay, you need to listen to that. And if that happens to you and you go into an office, you can always ask them to keep the door open. All right, if somebody's, I don't like going into places when people are closing doors anyway. That's why I like my studio. There's just one door I need to be concerned about, as I exit. And if there's an emergency, I can always go out this window. I'm on the second floor. I can safely get out of here if I need to. Again, and let me just remind everybody, inspect your property, inspect your environment, especially if you're in high rises. But anyway, so represent yourself properly before someone. And if you're operating in fraudulent means, you're going to get exposed. Things are happening quickly, where there's a turnaround of exposure that happens quicker than it was happening back in the day, because none of us, we didn't have televisions, we didn't have that type of technology where people can get exposed. So that's why they always had what they call them, a snake salesmen. They're in your town one day and then they're gone, and you don't recognize that you've been involved in some kind of swindles or fraudulent. Now that's hard to get away from. Usually people are exposed quicker, and so represent yourself properly before the pendulum hits or the bowling ball hits. It's the same concept, metaphorically, figuratively. Be able to stand on what you claim and again, with some of these people with these fake college degrees and these fake resumes, that's going to also be exposed. You know, these fake what do you call it, certificates that you have, and all this just to get a job. And I understand people want jobs, and I know that there are certain people that are treated biasly, where they cannot get jobs unless they do this or that and the other. And that's unfortunate and sad, but you have to think about you, the individual. How, what is your intention? Okay, and is there other options that you can take otherwise, rather than lying on your resume or over representing yourself as something that you're not? So I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I'm gonna say more about that because that's very important, but about representing yourself and being true to who you are. A lot of people say I'm real. I'm real. What does that mean? Look that up and tell me what that means when you say I'm real. Okay, and when you say I'm genuine, what does that mean? Look it up and see if that supports your assessment of yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and send peace and love. Guess what? You know what's happening right now? I'm hungry, and then I got some appointments and some running around. So anyway, I'm gonna send peace and love to everybody all over the stars and moon and mountains. Love yourself. Love others. Be kind and gentle. Talk to you soon.